How do you say the director's name? So How to Train Your Dragon The Hidden World is directed by DeBlois, I think that's how you pronounce it, and stars Jane Baruchel as Hiccup once again, and after he discovers that Toothless isn't the only Night Fury, he must seek the Hidden World, a secret dragon utopia, before a hired tyrant named Grimmel finds it first. Now, as far as my history with the How to Train Your Dragon franchise, it's actually very recent because I only saw the first two movies this week in the run-up to watching the third film. And it surprises me that I've never seen them before, particularly the first movie, because I grew up with DreamWorks movies, especially around the time when the first How to Train Your Dragon came out. I grew up with these movies, these DreamWorks movies, so I don't understand why I've never seen them before. But anyway, I watched the first two and in the run-up to this film for preparation, and the first film I really liked. I thought the first one was a fantastic film, and the second one I absolutely loved. I thought the second one was even better. I thought it was a brilliant film, the second one. So with that being said, going into the Hidden World, I was pretty excited. What I liked most about The Hidden World is just the way it continued to develop the relationship between Hiccup and Toothless. I mean, the relationship between the two is the core of this series. That is what this series is truly about, is the relationship between the boy and his dragon. And I really like the continuation of that, because I didn't really expect them to go in the direction they took with this, and I actually really loved the direction they took with this. It was something completely unexpected, something I didn't really see coming, so to have them go that direction and completely commit to it as well was a really nice side to it, and I didn't expect that in this story, but it benefited it so much more. Also, one of my favourite elements in this film was the idea of the Light Fury. This is the female Night Fury that they come across in this movie, and they realise, oh, Hiccup is not the last of his race. And I really liked this element of the story too, and I apologise for the lighting. The sun is right there in the window and it's coming straight in, it's being really annoying. But besides all of that, we do have a really nice story here with the Light Fury. I didn't expect that. I kind of felt like the Light Fury was going to be this love interest who they chuck into the film just to have one, and it's going to feel a bit forced and a bit weird, something that's not necessarily needed for this film. But there's actually a lot more to it than just being a love interest, and I really appreciated that. And also just the design of the character, you know, making it a white Night Fury was a really cool idea aesthetically, and also her play into the story I really enjoyed actually. And I think that overall the addition of the Night Fury, or the Light Fury as they call her in this movie, was actually a really nice centerpiece for the film. Now, the villain in this movie, Grimmel, I also thought was really well directed and really well handled, because the way he was able to interplay into the story was something that actually added a lot of threats. Like, I actually felt quite threatened by this guy, which I can't say I did with the villain Drago in the second film. I think like he had a lot more of a presence to him, he had a lot more of a viable threat, and also just his idea, like his ideals, what he was doing, what his plan was very believable and actually a lot more realistic than something that what Drago was trying to do. And I think that overall he works a lot more as a villain and serves a lot better purpose than the villain of the second film, and I think it just plays it a lot better in the third one. Now, what I've always loved about the How to Train Your Dragon franchise, you know, this week since I've watched the films, is that they are just really visually stunning films. Whether you're talking about just the flying sequences, or even just overall the visuals of the movie, the animation, it's really stunning, it's really beautiful. And in this film, it's exactly the same. You have the Hidden World introduced in this, and I'm not going to go into too many details about the Hidden World itself, because I don't want to spoil anything, but there is some really nice, beautiful shots when you're actually in the Hidden World. Like, the actual design of this place is beautiful, it's artistically pleasing, and I just really enjoyed being in this space because it was incredibly engrossing, and the colours were just popping all over the screen, and it just makes it a much more pleasurable experience, because even though the movie looks great throughout the entire runtime, when you're in the Hidden World, you really believe that this dragon utopia is just this really beautiful place. What I appreciate about this film as well is how it brought the scale back down to a bit more of a smaller level, because the scale of the second movie is quite big, and they do end on quite a big point. And although, like I said, I love the second movie, the second movie was my favourite out of the first two, I really appreciated the fact that this movie took the scale back down. It's not to the scale of the first movie, it hits like a happy middle. And again, I think that works really well for this movie, because it's not, you know, to the full scale of the second one, we have all these dragons just, you know, attacking Drago's force and everything like that. You don't get anything quite to the same scale. It's a lot more of a personal story, and I think that works a lot more for the closing chapter of this trilogy. And speaking of this being the closing chapter of the trilogy, I want to talk about the ending a little bit. Again, no spoilers, don't worry, I'm not going to spoil the ending. I'm just going to say that the ending I thought was really beautiful and really a fantastic ending to this trilogy. The person who I went with to watch the movie, she is a huge fan of this franchise and has grown up with this franchise, and she was incredibly satisfied with the ending, and I feel like I felt the same way. The ending just really delivers this really nice sense of closure, but also a sense of happiness as well. It's not, you know, a dour ending in particular, it's not anything that's particularly overwhelming either. I'm trying to tiptoe around this, but you know, the ending, it felt right, and it felt, you know, a good way to close off this trilogy, which, you know, has a really emotional core. To end it in such a way, I think it was a really well done ending. And I feel like, you know, I don't know how much of this trilogy was planned, you know, I don't know how much of this was planned in advance, but this felt like a really well thought out, nice ending to this trilogy, and I really appreciated that. Overall, I really loved How to Train Your Dragon 3. I just think that this movie was, you know, a really beautiful example of what animation can be these days, and just a really nice story and a perfect closing chapter to this trilogy. I don't think we're going to get a fourth movie. To be honest, I had doubts that we were ever going to get a third movie, so, you know, the fact that we got the third movie and it ended so perfectly, I don't think we are going to get another one, but I'm perfectly happy with a trilogy. I love my trilogies, so with that, I'm perfectly satisfied with where this movie ended, and I think that overall, this film is going to satisfy the fans, and also critics overall as well. I think this is a really awesome animated movie, and just a great movie in its own right. So have you guys seen How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World? If you have, make sure you let me know all your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let's have a conversation about this movie in the comment section down below. And as always, guys, if you want to see more movie reviews from me, be sure to subscribe, and I hope to see you guys again in my next video.